This is how we do it in the streets of California. This is how we put in work when we run up on ya.
See, I can make you dance, yeah, and I can make you shake, but I ain't here to entertain, I'm here to change the way you think.
F-A-F-A-A-A-A.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
F-A-F-A-A-A.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Welcome to the land of the scandalous, Los Angeles, where all we do is bang, so they claim that they can't handle us. Came up in the 80s where everything was crazy. Moved to the valley of San Gabriel to Shady. Learned the politics and the rules, it was cool. By 7 years later, I'm claiming the hood too. Just a product of the block of the barrio that you live in. Where the hooders keep you trapped and your enemies got you backed in. Where the black and brown got the same struggle. Either go to the pen or try to make it out this white bubble that they call the inner city, the hood, the ghetto. We either bang Crip or Blood or Soreño. I'm with the homie Sticks trying to play my part. We just left the church on our way up to Garvey Park. Either way, all we want to do is live safe and live our life.
Hold on, they couldn't hear. My mic was muted. Sorry about that. I said, welcome to the G-Lew Show, changing the game with the beautiful Deandra Chanel. I am G-Lew. That's Deandra.
Hello.
People? What's up, Deandra?
How you doing?
Doing great. Happy, excited about tonight. Got a great guest.
This show is going to be epic just because we have someone here who's very influential in social media marketing, and that's something that we haven't had on the show before. And we have a person, he does tattoo modeling and things of that sort, but I really want to get into how he changed his life around and how he made such a name for himself in the industry, just based off of being able to say, I want to make a change and let's just kind of shift our life into something different, you know?
Right. Yeah, it should be real. Dude has a great story, deep story too. That can inspire some people out there. So I know you probably see him on different platforms and all that, but he's on our show tonight. You know what I mean? Legendary guy in his own right. Go ahead and introduce him, Deandra. He's here.
So without further ado, let us introduce Mohawk Matt to our show, Changing the Game.
Matt.
Hi.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on here.
Thank you for being on. Such an honor.
Thank you.
So you're very well known in the social media platform, but tell our guests a little bit about who you are.
My name is Matt. I go by Mohawk Matt. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley area of Los Angeles. I grew up kind of middle class throughout the late 80s and the 90s. I guess just to go right into it, I grew up with graffiti and sports. I kind of juggled almost a really good sports career life with some graffiti that evolved into gangs. If you know the history of LA, the gangs evolved into jail and drugs and all that nonsense. And I lost a lot of the positive things that I was doing outside of that lifestyle. I ended up getting incarcerated for a really long time, getting involved in some stupid bullshit that I like to leave back there in the jail. And I've been home for about 10 years now, and I've worked really hard to change my life, including tattoo removal, therapy, getting clean and sober. I speak actively on a lot of groups with kids and sobriety. I do a lot. I really bust my ass dealing with the word change, like you said.
I want to kind of reflect on the transition of the change, because I know that we there's a lot of people out there that are really struggling with making the shift of the change of their lives based on their past. We won't get into it too much.
Yeah.
But what made you say, that's it, I'm done, I want to make a change in my life? And what did you do to make that change?
In all honesty, I got involved. Like I said, I went from graffiti to gangs. Now, if you know the LA culture, that's a big jump. A lot of people think it's easy, but it's really not. It's a different step, and I'd say like the chain of events on the street level, and which also brought jail really prominent. And when you start going to jail and you're a white boy like me that grew up with nothing but Mexicans, that's another whole culture shock in the jail system as well. I got exposed to a lot of really uncomfortable things. I got involved in some things, stuff I like, stuff. I learned some good things in jail, I'm not going to lie. You can learn a lot of good things, but I also got involved with some stuff that I'm not really proud of, and by proxy, I had to come home and remove tattoos and really do some therapy and some change, and I guess like when you get sober, you got to let go of some stuff you did, and I had to let go of some stuff, you know.
Hmm. So you do like public speaking about the changes that you've made, and you try to inspire others to make a change for their lives, or even youth that are at risk. Like, tell us a little bit more about your public speaking and the
Well,
changes.
basically, I do a lot of recovery speaking, which by proxy transfers into the. I mean, I'm clean and sober for 6 years as of last Saturday, and I do a lot of public speaking in regards to that, helping people get sober. I'm one of those guys that if you contact me on any one of my platforms, I will help you get sober. And with that also comes involved like a lot of the therapy for ex-gang members, current gang members, a lot of people that are struggling with addiction. By proxy, you find out they also have gang issues, racial issues, all kinds of that stuff goes along that spectrum. And I've been involved in a little bit of every aspect of it, and I can my I guess my reach stretches pretty far because, like I said, growing up the way I did, I got homies probably from almost every, at least one or two from every gang, whether you're black, white, or Mexican, throughout Los Angeles. I got probably a homie or two from your hood. Growing up in the system, you tend to learn to network with people, whether you like them or not. You're going to respect them, and you tend to network with people, and by proxy, make friends with some people you probably never thought you'd make friends with.
Hmm. So, what would you say was your inspiration to truly make a change for your life?
Um, well, it started, like I said, it started with drugs. I wanted to get clean and sober. Uh, Getting clean and sober was the biggest pivotal thing, but also you don't really realize, I guess, how much of a big deal it is the way you grew up until you go to jail and you're told I can't be with these guys because I'm white, or you're told I can't hang out over with this table with some friends because they're black. Like a lot of these things that you think might not be big, they turn out to be real big when you go to jail, and you have to play the game when you're in jail. But the whole time I'm like, damn, these are my friends on the streets. Like it becomes a struggle. It becomes like a big old game of chess when you're in jail. You're playing chess at a really high, intense level, and you really got to watch what you do. And when I came home from jail, I got to be myself again, and I got to really remember who I was, and all those politics and stupid rules were gone, and I'm free, and I can get back to who I am and be with the people that I'm really comfortable with. At the same time, I mean, I'm proud to be a really cool white boy. I like how I grew up. But I also like to know that I'm like multicultural raised, and it's nice to have that back without having to look over my shoulder for once. Now that I'm home, and now I can get sober, and now I can use social media to really build and work with the people that I really love.
Let's talk about a little bit about your social media platform.
Yeah.
I know you use it obviously to help others, but you also have it to help promote different businesses. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Can we elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Now, wait. Ask me that question one more time. I want to make sure I heard it right.
You're using your platform to help with support and market other businesses.
Yeah. So look. So I got started being a junkie, an ex-convict, a gang member. This big company called Stolen Clothing gave me a chance. They let me model their stuff because when I was getting sober, my mom used to bring me their clothing every week, and every Friday I made it to the next Friday without drugs because this company helped me with that. I wanted to be a part of it. So this company gave me a shot. So I've always looked at it like if they gave me a shot, anybody out there that sends me a t-shirt, anybody small up and coming business, you got a backyard salsa business, you're making tacos, you got t-shirts. I mean, mind you, as long as it looks like it fits who Mohawk Matt is, send me a shirt. I'll help advertise for you. I'll get you some photos. I love helping the little guy get big, man. I mean, I used to be a little guy, and I usually don't. This is gonna kick me in the ass right here, but I usually don't be charging motherfuckers either. Send me a t-shirt and I'll help promote for you because that's the only way I grew. I might not make much money, but I got a whole group of friends that I fuck with, and that's what means more to me.
Yeah. So once you found your calling when it came to media marketing, what is it that inspired you to push on, to press on when it came to marketing and things of that sort? Because you could have done anything. You could have.
I think it's just because how I grew up. When you're involved in a bunch of different groups, going from graffiti to sports to gangs, I was actually pretty smart in the book club in school too. So I was able to work growing up like that, and being a part of a gang and then a couple tagging crews. You're able to work with a lot of people at once and get and connect people. So I've always had the ability to be like the guy that connects people and keeps groups together. And I find with social media, you can do that the same way. If you want to work in a group by proxy, you also got to work with the group. You got to advertise the group. You have to like another group. You have to comment. You have to be functioning on social media like it's a woman or like it's a friend.
Yeah. What advice do you have for anyone who is struggling with recovery? With your journey being, because you were addicted for quite some time, yes?
Yeah.
And then one day you just were like, that's it, we're done here. I know that.
I think for people that are struggling, there comes a distinctive moment we call rock bottom. Like everybody has a start where they start wanting to get sober, and it takes a few tries. Like you got to fall down seven times before you can stand up 8. Or I think that's how the saying goes. So like there's a distinctive moment while you've been trying that you hit that is probably the darkest, most evil moment of your life. And I remember mine, and I know that other people hit it as well. So I like to always help people if they're anywhere near that moment, if they're even questioning if they might have a problem, you probably do. And someone like me that got myself out of the darkest place, I know damn well you can do it, and I can probably help you get through it.
Yeah. Now, I want to touch on something that not a lot of people touch on. You and I have talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
People who are family members, wives, mothers, fathers.
Man, it's funny. You're one of the only people that hit that. You're one of the only people to hit this. That's a good topic.
Let's elaborate on that a little bit, because not enough people talk about that side of it. Because we talk about the recovering addict we're proud of them. We love recovering, but there are people that have been affected heavily by the addiction of said individual.
I think the group they have out there is called Al-Anon. I think, okay, so like for me, I damaged the whole neighborhood. I destroyed my parents' neighborhood. I destroyed and terrorized the community. I physically hit my father when I was under the influence. I've shoved my mom. Like I've done all kinds of bad shit. As drug addicts and criminals, we never stop to think about the people we're affecting, the girlfriends, the babies' moms, the wives, the brothers, the sisters, the bosses, the jobs, the average person that we bump into and or steal from on the street. We affect a lot of lives out there in a domino effect. And so there's a lot of other people that were affected. I had to make an amends list where I contacted everybody I could think of and let them know that I'm sorry, and if there's anything I could do to make this right, even if it's financial. I had a list of financial amends for people I've stolen from, I've hurt. I think it's very important for us when you're trying to get sober and change, you have to actually go out of your way to make a list of all the people you've harmed, because there's a lot of people out there that we've affected, and nobody spends much time or gives them the credit they need in this whole process of change.
Yeah. What advice will you give to that family member though? Because as me personally, I've been a person who has been in the life of someone who has been addicted to substances, and it was and I at some point I just kind of gave up. I was like, I can't.
I think you have to first of all, I recommend you have to wait for the right moment. You have to make sure that they're at a place in their recovery where they're receptive to even being able to understand that they've affected other people. Because as a recovering drug addict, we're very selfish people. Even once we get sober, we are very, very selfish. And we have to begin to realize, or at a place where we can hear you and understand what you're talking about. And that usually comes with having a sponsor and probably doing the steps. There's a list of 12 steps when you get sober that you have to work and do some really research and soul searching and write down answers to where you can discover where the root of some of your problems were. And one of those, actually 2 of them, step 8 and step 9, are the ones we deal with, where we reach out to someone like yourself who's been affected, and we make an amends, we make a living amends, or we make a financial amends if that's needed as well.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good to know, because I'm sure that it's tough out there. Like I said, we appreciate the fact that you guys have made the changes and you've recovered for yourselves. And it's funny because you're not the first person to ever tell me this. The thing that I find extremely shocking, though, and you're right when it comes to like being selfish afterwards.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to a couple of people where they have literally said, oh, well, I changed my life and I did this and I did that. And I'm like, so what happened with your family member, your person, your whoever it is that you affected? Well, I apologize, but if they choose to forgive me, that's fine. If not, well, I don't know what to tell them.
The sad part about that is getting sober is a very selfish, personal thing. Now, we do affect a lot of people, and we do have to make those amends and give people their, I guess you'd say, their runbacks. Whether let me tell you something. There was a guy that I think I fucked his girlfriend. I stole from him. I broke his car. When I made this amends, this dude had every right to take flight on me, and I had to accept it. And I had to be man enough to say, I fucked your girl. I stole from you. I fucked your property up, homie. You got every right to crack me. And by proxy, I'm going to have to give you a free one. I'm not going to let you dog me out, but I'll give you a free one because you got that coming because of my behavior. Mm-hmm. But we have to be at a place where we're willing to accept. Like, some people have committed all kinds of crime. Some people have to admit stuff where they might go to jail. And that's it's unfortunate, but that's a part of it. And they tell us, if you want to stay sober, you have to do it the honest way. The only way to stay sober is to get honest with yourself and with others. And then it gets even more selfish, because once you get sober, I think I was telling you this the other night, you have to stay selfish in regards to relationships, in regards to family. We have to realize where we can and can't go, what people I can be around. Hell, I can't be around half my old homies. Now, I love my neighborhood, but I can't be there because they're still doing the same shit they were doing in the 90s. And I can't be around that shit no more. You know what I mean? Like I can't put myself near certain places, people, or things. And I have to stay selfish in regards to even a woman. Like, if I hooked up with a woman and she wants to date me and I don't feel it, it's unfortunate. But in order for me to stay sober, I have to learn where my boundaries are and keep them real serious.
Yeah.
So.
Let's talk about triggers.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's a thing.
That's a big thing. Yeah, big thing.
And it's more for yourself and the person, or the addict, and the people around them. Like, how do you keep yourself grounded when you have those said triggers?
I've been real fortunate. I haven't had many triggers. But in the beginning, I can say when I first got sober, I wasn't able to go around bars. Like, I wasn't able to be around homies that smoke weed. And now, as I've gotten more comfortable in my sobriety, bars don't bother me. I don't care if people smoke weed or drink. I'm cool with that. I don't want to be around no cocaine, meth, or heroin, or fentanyl and shit. But, like, triggers, you have to be very aware of your triggers. I can say, honestly, sex and relationships could be a trigger for me. Certain bad situations you get stuck in with a woman or a partner, or I don't have kids, babies, but like kids are a real big trigger for a lot of my friends. It's very stressful, and it causes a lot of people to relapse.
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you give to someone who has that temptation to relapse?
Well, I'm going to say what my sponsor always tells me. The minute you get a trigger or like an urge, you got to call somebody. You have to put your pride aside. You got to suck it up and call somebody and talk to them. Don't be embarrassed to say, damn, dog, I hooked up with a girl and I knew it was a mistake. I shouldn't have hooked up with her because she likes me. You have to get honest with the girl. You have to get honest with your sponsor. Like, for me, I got a solid group of men. I'm in a group of men that I talk to every morning, and I'm able to talk to these men about anything I go through throughout the day. And that right there keeps, I guess they check me and keep my feelings on point with how they should be and where they should be.
Yeah. I actually wanted to kick it over to my co-host a little bit, just to kind of, so he can kind of go over a few things.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Hey, what's up, brother Matt? Man, enjoying your story of testimony. What I really respect and appreciate about you is how real you are, and how
Thank you, bro.
How you everything you accept and stand on all your faults, and you know, whatever your situation is, you accept it. You know what I mean? You speak about it as you accepted it. I want to ask you, coming home, but even in prison, not like into that, but like, how was the rehabilitation? Like, is there a quote unquote, because they say like California rehabilitation and all that, right? Is there any type of rehabilitation in prison, or is there ways to really rehabilitate if you want to take, if you want to get it?
I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. It's okay. So it's not there. You have to go out and look for it. And most of my partners that were able to beat the life sentence and turn their sentences around, that are starting to come home, they had to make the therapy themselves. We have to go out of our way as inmates to look for it, because the state doesn't want us to come home. If we come home, they got no jobs.
Right.
So we have to go out of our way to get it. Now, in my case, I had to go out of my way because I ended up paroling on accident. A lot of my points had been reevaluated, and they lowered my sentence, my release date, without telling me. And I was trying to stay as active as I could in there. And by the time my date came, we were like 3 weeks over, and they told me, man, get ready, you're going home. I came home with a drug habit. I didn't have time to get involved in all the therapy and a lot of the change groups that these inmates have now. A lot of these inmates that were there when I was there, they designed and made up a bunch of programs for the future that inmates can still get into now. But again, you have to go out of your way to look for it and try to find it, because the state ain't going to give you shit.
Right.
But I had to do more of it on my own when I came home, and it was a motherfucker, because it was big because I came home with a drug habit.
Right. And that's and I was going to ask you too next, how was the process for you coming on from prison to, like you just said earlier, accepting all the things you have to accept to make yourself better on the outside, get rid of, not only come back into reality, but release all the shit you had to learn in prison to unlearn now, you know, on top of that, you know, all the politics and all that, but then on top of that, having a drug problem on top of that. Like, how did you do that?
Well, the first thing, I came home with more, I was in the U.S. military way before all this, and I have more PTSD from prison than I do from the U.S. military. I came home from prison wearing my shower shoes in the house, in the shower. I came home from prison washing my boxers in the sink. I made Folgers cheap coffee. I refused to try stuff like Starbucks. I had a lot of PTSD. When I hit the AM PM when I got out, the variety of how many options of each type of soda gave me shell shock. I was appalled when I came home after doing that much time. I did a total of 19 years. I did 3 years and 8 months. I was home for 90 days. I went back in for 3 years and 8 or 9 months. I came home for 98 days. And then I went back to the joint for 13 and a half years.
Wow.
So when I came home, a lot had changed. And I was I had a lot of fucking PTSD, which by proxy caused my drug habit that I paroled with to get way worse and way worse and way worse.
Wow. Wow. Shout out to American Cholo. I also seen you on this platform before,
man,
too.
That's the homie. Shout out American Cholo. I just left the homie right now. That's right, Gil.
What up, Gil? Much
that's
love.
Right, Gil.
Wow. So tell me this too, because you spoke on having always these triggers, and like when you're recovering, it's a lot you always have to go through. I want to ask this: is there ever, do you think, because I've had family members too who have had drug problems, and you know, I sold drug. You know how abuse or users act.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, it seems to me like it never does. That monkey ever leave you, or is it like always there? Because sometimes even people that are clean and sober, you see the almost like the effects that the drugs have had, and it seems like it kind of stays with you in some way or another.
Okay, look, I can't speak for everyone. I'm gonna speak for myself. Like I was telling her earlier, I don't put myself in dangerous positions. I'm very careful of who I'm around and where I'm around and what they have. And most of the things don't bother me anymore. But I don't have many triggers. I've worked so damn hard to get where I'm at that I wouldn't have none of this. I wouldn't be knowing you guys. I wouldn't be knowing anybody in this industry if I was on drugs. So I keep that really up close in the subconscious of my head, because if I slip once, see, I'm the kind of drug addict that if I relapse, I don't just do it for one night. I wake up in handcuffs. I go, if I get high, motherfuckers need to change their phone number and block me, because I will steal from you. I do all kinds of foul shit when I'm on drugs. So I know damn well I keep in the front of my head, I won't have anything I've built. My Jeep, all my clothes, everything I have is up for grabs when I do drugs. So I'm really good at watching my behavior and where I'm around. So I don't have many triggers. Now I have a lot of friends that everything bothers them and they have to stay going to those meetings all the time. Now, if that works for you, more power to you. They have those rooms for a reason.
Right.
I've learned to get more independent and work on this on my own.
Wow. How much is because it seems to me like what I respect again about you is that you own it. You know what I mean? And you know what you have to do. Is that part of half of the problem with a lot of people who can't come all the way full circle like you have? You know what I mean?
A lot of people, like I was saying, you got to get really honest. You got to talk about some shit. You got to talk about that shit that you want to keep secret hidden under the bed. You got to let all that shit out. Like mine was so bad that I got to admit every time I do a show and people talk to me, I have to admit that one day I was borderline schizophrenic on meth, and I thought my own father was having sex with my girlfriend. I hit my dad with an electric alarm clock and almost knocked him out. I have to admit that. I have to continually remind myself that that's what I did on drugs, and I have to say it over and over until I'm blue in the face. And I got to let you know that I did that. And by proxy, other people are going to hear it, and they're going to be reminded of some shit they did because I ain't the only one that's done that. So you got all that shit that you think you're going to keep secret. You're not going to tell nobody. I don't care if it's some weird sex shit. I don't care if you snitched on somebody. Whatever you done, you got to get it off your chest so you can stay sober.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep, brother. That's deep. Mohawk match, y'all. Go ahead, Deandra. I got a lot out, but I want to.
Do you feel like when it comes to recovery, is there a borderline thing where you feel like you have to substitute one addiction for another? Let's just say, like, from to women or from women.
I think those of us who have addictive personalities, yes. I mean, I went through a phase where I was buying 7 pairs of shoes. I got more goddamn shoes than most people have right now. When I got so many pairs of Jordans and Air Max that, like, I think I still have, like, my addictive personality has substituted. Like, for a while it was women. I had to hook up with so many different women. Now now I'm like, I seem like I'm back in the shoe phase right now. I do think you're right. It does switch. If we have addictive personality, it's going to manifest in some other ways. You just have to try to find a way to work on it so it's not financially or emotionally or physically damaging to yourself or other people.
I kind of want to go over it because I'm not sure if you can see. I don't know if you can see the bottom where we have like people.
Okay, can because he's on his phone. He probably can't see it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I can see some of the comments are coming through.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you watch back later, then you'll be able to see all of them. But a lot of people either have been raised around it, or they have family members that are addicted, or they themselves have gone through the struggle. I kind of was wondering if you can go over like the 12 steps with people so they can kind of understand.
Okay, I don't know them all by heart. I know number 1, you have to admit you're a drug addict. Number 2, you have to get ready to make a change. Number 3, you have to find a power greater than yourself. Number 4, you have to make a list of things you've done wrong, and it's called an inventory. Number 5, you have to express verbally out loud this list of things that you've done. That's what I was telling him. All that fucked up shit you've done, you got to write it down, and then you also got to share that out loud to another person. And then number 5, 6 is spiritual change, I believe, something like that. 7, I don't remember what 7 is. 8 is the list of amends. 9, you have to actually go out and make this list of amends, even if they're financial. 10 is like I think 10 running a 10 is like a self inventory. You check yourself at the end. You check yourself on your behavior, and if I offended you, I'd walk up to you and let you know. You might not know it, but I offended you today, and you make an amends as the day goes on. And then 11, at the end of the day, you sit down and evaluate your day and figure out what you did wrong, what you could do different the next day. And then 12 is one of the most important. 12 is where we have to go back out, like what I'm doing right now. I got to reach my hand back for the next guy who's still struggling. I always have to make sure that I accept requests. I do the best I can to always volunteer and help to do stuff for free, talk to people, read to people, get on the phone with people who are struggling. We have to give it back, because if we don't give it back, we can't keep it. I won't stay sober unless I do this show with you tonight.
What? I saw something in the chat about a sexual inventory. What is a sexual inventory?
Okay, so we have a regular inventory, and then part of that inventory is the sexual inventory. a lot of us drug addicts are pretty fucked up. And there's like a lot of times where, like I said earlier, there's been so many girls I've hooked up with for my personal selfish needs that I know the girl liked me more than sex, and she gave in and had sex, and then I hurt this person's feelings because she wanted a relationship and I was just using her for sex. We have to itemize that. We have to go back to these women and tell them we're sorry. I know you liked me and I was just trying to have a good time and I didn't have the balls to tell you. So there's also like not me, but there's a lot of other people that have done some really fucked up sexual shit, maybe like raping someone or something weird. They got to get that off their chest as well. Yeah.
I find it extremely amazing how many people that we have in the chat that can relate to you.
Yeah, a lot of people have been in situations themselves for recovering or whatever, man. So it's a lot of people in here, man. Really, feel your story, brother. I just, like I said, I just respect how real you are about everything, bro. You know what I mean? To me, I think that's a big part of all the steps. You know what I mean? Like you said, accepting your truth and knowing what your truth or whatever the case may be to help you change and owning that. That's what I respect about you the most, bro. Let me ask you.
I wouldn't be able to sit and talk with you guys if I didn't do that. I had to get like that. I mean, I feel like I've always been a pretty blunt guy, but getting sober made me even more blunt to where me being blunt, it's more about myself to get me through the day. And it also, by proxy, has built a really big group of friends that I can fuck with because I'm trustworthy because I am so blunt and honest.
Right. That's what I get from you too. That's why I can see you got a lot of homies because you just seem like a real dude, first and foremost, and that goes a long way. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let me ask you this. Where does religion play in any of your journey? Has it played any part in your journey?
It does. It does. It's weird because I got some Viking in my history and I was raised Catholic. So I believe that Jesus died for my sins. That's not a doubt. I don't go to church much, but I am a believer. But I struggle with, I believe a lot of my Viking heritage as well. And a lot of the Christians, they kind of argue you can't do both and all that. And I try to just be respectful and say yes and no and okay. But I believe that Jesus died for my sins. So I don't really.
Hey, let me ask you this, Matt. How does because I'm kind of ignorant to that. How does the Viking religion work? I'm kind of like.
Well, I kind of just believe in all the Viking history and the Viking gods. It's hard because to have this talk, we might need another episode. To have this talk means the Viking stuff was here way before Christianity, and that's what always bothers them.
Right.
To say that you're being blasphemous, but to me, it doesn't negate that Jesus was a real figure in history. I don't care what race you think Jesus was. He was really in history, and he really got on that cross, and he really died for me, for you, for all of us. There's no way to argue that. That doesn't matter whether Vikings were here first or not. So that's how I justify it. The Viking stuff is a series of gods that all do different things in history, and a lot of the stuff that they talked about kind of coincides with a lot of stuff the Bible has proven. But again, religion is a controversial subject because you can't, you talk about one, the other one gets mad. So I try my best just to curb that a little bit.
Right, I got you. So you want to say that you kind of struggle with the two religions, but overall you are a believer of what, you know what I mean, the like you said, but I understand what you mean by not wanting to talk a lot about it, because like you said, that does go deep. Religion and politics, boy, crazy.
Yeah, especially today as we're seeing. But I am a believer. I believe that Jesus got on that cross for me, and I'm not gonna let nobody tell me I can't say that. So
okay, respect.
Yeah,
I definitely want to get your take on religion, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Deandra.
How big is having a support system when it comes to recovery? Not just your sponsors, but I mean family, friends, partners, things like that. Does it really make a difference?
I think it's humongous. I had to learn that you have to have recovery, and I tell the people that I sponsor, you also have to have a personal social life and a work life. Now, mind you, I'm fortunate. Growing up the way I did between different cultures, I had graffiti homies, I had gang homies, I've got prison homies now, I've got military homies, I got hometown homies in the Valley. I played sports, so I got baseball homies. I'm fortunate that once I got sober, all my people came back to me. Now, a lot of people, I hate to say this, with what we're seeing today, a lot of these drugs are changing, and people don't have anything other than maybe their mom and dad, and then whatever they decide in the program to get sober. So I tell people that you have to build a social life outside of the recovery room, but you also have to be involved in the recovery room for at least your first 3 years. I did. For 3 years, I was involved in the AANA, everything. I went to the ugly Valentine's dances. I went to the barbecues. I had a coffee commitment. I picked up cigarette butts. I did everything I could for about 3.5 years. Now I tend to focus more on my personal life, my social life, my work life, because it's a good balance. For me, I can't make my whole life about that program because I'll collapse, because everything else will fall. But I can understand some people need that.
So I kind of want to shift gears a little bit.
Go for it.
Let's talk about your military career. That came first?
Yeah, before I went to prison. I actually went to jail, and then I joined the U.S. Navy to get out of going to. I tried to do that to hide, to not go to a bigger prison sentence.
So I'm intrigued by this.
Yes.
How do you serve in the military, which is a very disciplinary type system, and you're still struggling with addiction at this point?
No, I mean I had dabbled in drugs, but nothing serious. I was a fireman, which is DC-2 on the SS Constellation in the U.S. Navy. I got deployed outside of Africa, and I get migraine headaches. I get really, really severe migraine headaches, so bad that it ended up being a disqualification. So I got a medical honorable discharge about 1.5 years, almost 2 into service.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a full pension after I was sent home.
And based off your career, because I don't know how far in it went, did you have to do any fighting or anything like that?
No, well, I joined. There was no war going on when I joined.
Oh, okay. So you didn't really have to deal with much.
No. But let me tell you something. U.S. Navy's no joke. Don't get it twisted.
I'm sure.
It's a serious thing. Yeah.
But my question is, like, the transition into the military. There's no PTSD that would trigger anything for you?
No, I loved it. So I had already been going to juvenile hall and jail on and off a little bit. So like I was already used to structure like that. So when you're used to structure and having to work out and being in bed by a certain time and making your bed when you get up, it's not really that hard. As long as you can accept structure, the military is easy. I recommend it for everybody.
Anybody in general?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not somebody that wants to that wants to question authority and not follow rules, I don't recommend it. But if you're someone that wants to have a good career, a good life, and serve your country like I did, it's a great career choice. It'll build you a family, a career, a home. It's great.
Mm-hmm. So you have a few things that you to be proud of. You have upcoming projects that are like life-changing. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I got a couple cool things coming up.
Talk to us about that, please.
Well, I got my own show coming out with Stolen TV. They're recognizing the importance of the street life in the tattoo industry. By proxy, I'm trying to filter more of our culture in Los Angeles, and I mean the whole LA County area. So we're going to be including a lot of the street stuff, graffiti, gangs, jail, recovery, all kinds of stuff that also by proxy involves itself in the tattoo industry. Because I don't care if you're in jail, wherever you're at, everybody tattoos. All of our people together, separately and collectively, all tattoo. I don't care if you're black, white, Mexican. We all got people that tattoo. So we're going to involve a lot of people more like me that have been involved in the street life in the tattoo community on my own show. And then I also am the new host of a reality TV show coming out. We just got a couple offers from Paramount and Discovery Channel. I'll be the host of a reality show where I take celebrities. Yeah, I take celebrities like rappers, rock stars, connect them. They come at me with some great idea for for instance, my homeboy Conejo. Big shout out to Conejo. Conejo, one of the best Chicano rappers there is, wanted a samurai tattoo. So on the first episode, I brought him to Big Sleep Studio in Paramount, and we got him a badass samurai tattoo from Yelly Tattoo. So I connect you with whatever your idea is. I'll take you to the best artist for that tattoo and get it to happen, all while they film a whole reality show with it.
That's dope. That's dope. That's hella dope from there.
Yeah.
Hella dope.
So, what would you recommend to anybody who's trying to get in the industry that you're in? Because you do quite a few things, but right now it's a lot of like media and TV and all that stuff.
I do a lot. I mean, I do modeling, I do social media, I do marketing, I do social media managing, I do modeling, I do recruiting for models, I do sales for my company selling, I do conventions, and now I'm doing acting videos and stuff like that. So I recommend. It's really hard. It took me a while. It took me about 2 years of taking those ugly bathroom selfies by myself on my iPhone to get noticed by a company. You know what I mean? But I can tell you, if they picked up my ass on some ugly selfies, I'm not the only one they'll pick up.
And now, when it comes to like the modeling world, let's elaborate on that when it comes to like street modeling and tattoo modeling and things like that. Like, how do you get into this industry this way?
Well, I just kind of pushed my way in, taking selfies until I met someone from the company, and he brought me in like to the company's front. But I mean, you got to go to events. You got to watch social media posts. You got to be active on social media. You got to be posting. You got to be keeping your story up. You got to go. You see a flyer for an old school jams concert? Get your ass over there and take some selfies. You got to constantly be posting. I tell people all the time, social media is like having a girlfriend. You got to take care of her. You got to buy her gifts. You got to work with her. You got to talk to her. You got to comment. You have to reshare. The biggest thing is you got to share other people's shit. Don't be selfish. It ain't about you. You got to share and work with other people too. You want people to fuck with you, you got to fuck with them. And you got to support people. Every now and then you got to come out your own pocket and drive yourself somewhere. Buy yourself a ticket. You got to buy a t-shirt from that homie that you like his company.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Do you feel like social media like truly changed your life?
Yeah, it gave me something to do once I got sober, and it really opened up a lot of doorways for me. I feel that as long as you use it for the right things, it can be really good. I
Yeah.
also think the flip side of that coin, social media can be very damaging in the wrong hands, and it can do a lot of really bad things, especially like what we're seeing with a lot of the, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say it. With a lot of stuff going on, I don't agree with today, but it can be very damaging if you don't pay attention.
Facts.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now,
hey. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, G-Lew, go ahead. You're
I
good.
want to ask you one more thing, going back to the drugs and things, because I know you talk now that you're sober and you talk to kids and
Yeah.
other people, recovering addicts. What do you think about I don't know how to say this, like where it is now pertaining to the kids or the younger people that are using the drugs now, because drugs have got more, as you know, as the years go, they get more stuff in them. You got the fentanyl, you got a lot of more stuff that's 10 times more harder or badder or bad shit, whatever the case may be. Where do you see the kids going with this stuff right now? Is it getting better or worse?
Oh, I definitely think it's getting worse. I reached a point where I can honestly tell you I don't relate. I can't relate to the behavior. I mean, you got people getting naked on the street corners. You got people injecting drugs and smoking meth in front of women and children. In my day, my homeboys would have checked me for doing that. There would have been, in my day, in the neighborhood, there were no tents. There was none of this taking over a bus bench so your mom can't drive to get to work on the bus. I'm telling you right now, I cannot relate to this behavior. I'm not even sympathetic to it. I don't like it. I think it's hella disrespectful. I don't think it's ever right to. I kept my bullshit at home off the streets. Every now and then I'd go out and rob somebody, but I wasn't posted up on a corner jacking off doing fentanyl like you see a lot of these people doing. I think it's really disrespectful, and I honestly think it's because they don't have homies checking them like I did back in my day.
Right. Wow. That's a fact. That's a fact that pertains to the streets too, like far as these young people, even with structure and all that, because all that plays a part too, right?
We've alleviated the structure, just like you see the cops don't arrest people anymore either. So there's no more consequences. People can do whatever they want. Like we in my day, I relied on some of the homies schooling me. Like there was, like I said before, gangs in prison are not positive or a good thing. But I can honestly tell you, I'd be lying if I didn't say I learned a lot of good things on the streets. I learned a lot of good things in jail. I was taught some valuable lessons, like how to work in a group, how to respect the next man. You might not like someone's race or their hood, but let me tell you something. You're going to respect them on some dangerous consequences if you don't.
Right.
So there's a lot of good things you can learn, and we don't have that today. We don't have. People are just posting up, doing whatever the fuck they want, and then they're posting it on social media too. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like they said, it's effed up right now, man. Period. the world, period. You know, there's no structure. And I think that goes up, not even with politics, just period in life right now. You know what I mean? Missing that, you know? Hey, go ahead, Deandra. I just wanted to add that part or ask him about that.
I do have a question that may be a bit of a trigger to some.
Go for it.
In my experience with this, I would always hear my homies, blah, 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 when it came to this addiction thing. Do you truly believe, because the idea that you're telling me of the homies, there was respect, there was this, there was that. In all honesty, if you have someone in your life, your homeboys that love you so much, would you think that being encouraged or being so dope is really like a thing of love, though?
Wait, what? Say that last part again.
Do you like being around people who sell you dope, give you dope, your homeboys, things like that? Would you really consider that like a love thing, though?
No, but it's a different. All I can say is it's a different side of the same coin.
Yeah.
We
like you're on the streets, you're not thinking about it when you're in that light, when you're in the mix.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess like it's not a justification, but it's a reason. So I'm gonna give you a reason. Like my homeboys would sell dope with me and give me dope, so I would come up. They were never assuming I'm gonna use the dope I'm selling because they know how negative that is, and we didn't tolerate our homeboys in our neighborhood being all cracked out or methed out like that because it was a bad look for the hood, which means it's a bad look for the neighborhood. It's a bad look for our community. It'd be better. I know it sounds horrible, but the way we rationalized it back then was we'd rather be making money off this shit than using it and on the corner doing stupid shit. And my homeboys, there's a lot of bad nights where I can't stand them, but there's also a lot of good nights where we did some things together that I can never forget. As much as gangs are negative, I can honestly tell you there were some times that I'm never going to forget. When you go to war with people, you make some bonds that are never going to go away. And there's a lot of good things. So there's a lot of good love, but there also, like you said, there is some negative teachings that I could say go on as well.
Right. Like I only ask from a point of view of people on the outside who don't get it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I understand.
I've heard or I've seen stuff where like this is my homeboy, this is my homie, and it's like you go and you go buy dope from this person, and it's like that's your homeboy for real. Yeah. Like this is supposed to be the dude that loves you, but he's.
Well, it's weird because back in the day, we can do drugs together, but it's like doing drugs is fun until it becomes not fun, if that makes any sense. Like it's all cool when you're getting high, but like when you're actually selling all your shit and fucking stealing from people, then it's not cool anymore. Mm-hmm. So there's like a fine line with, I guess, experimentation with drugs to where you actually now become a drug addict and you're a junkie. So you have to be very careful of where you approach that line from, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. And the part about drugs, that at the end of the day, the bad part about drugs always shows itself, whether you're a user or a seller, it's gonna affect you either way in the end. And people realize that whatever way it affects you, it affects you in the end, whether you're a user or a seller, it's gonna affect, you know what I mean? You're selling to people you love, like it's gonna affect you in a bad way in the end, either way.
Well, we never saw the negative effects. Back then, I didn't really consider the negative effects. It actually, we think we're making money in the hood. We won't realize we're actually damaging the hood by doing that. We don't see that back then because we're justifying that we're making money. We're looking good. I got some brand new Cortez on. You know what I mean? Like it's all good back then. Not realizing that we're actually still doing bad shit. So
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you feel that every story is pretty much the same when it comes to the addiction, where there's a high point and a low point, and then everyone reaches that point where they feel like they just need to recover? Or do you think like there's causes?
No, I don't think that's true. I think like I've got some friends that can do some coke and not touch it for 6 months and smoke a joint and drink a beer. I can't stand them. Fuck them for being like that. I wish I could do that.
People,
you know what I mean? Like my brother's like that. I got homies that can drink a beer. You know how bad I want to have a shot of whiskey on St. Patrick's Day? I can't. Like, but there's also, so I don't think they're all the same. I think we all have our own journey, but I think the one part you're right on is there will be a low point, there will be a high point, and then there will be what we call rock bottom. And when you hit rock bottom and you are spiritually, mentally, and physically broken, That's when change begins, right there.
Wow.
What makes you think, like, why do you think that addiction can go on for so long? I've seen people 20, 25, 30 years doing this shit.
I think some people are lucky, and I think with what we're seeing on the streets today, we're not going to see that anymore because we're not seeing old school drugs on the street. We're seeing these new fentanyl-based chemical drugs that they're whacking people in record numbers right now. So I don't think it goes on for that long anymore. There's very rare people that can handle doing fentanyl at a level like that and stay active. I think we're entering a new era of shit. This in the next couple years, even with politics, religion, sex. We're entering a new time where we're about to see some stuff change that we're not used to, nor are we ready for. And drugs is one of the big ones.
That's a fact.
I want to go back to the selfishness of this.
Okay.
I heard a story. Do we talk about this story?
We might have. Go ahead. We
Okay.
might have.
So there was this man that I met at a bar, right? And we were just talking about different things. And he starts talking to me about his marriage. He was married to this woman for 25 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Went to prison, got out, all this stuff, and he recovered. And I asked him and I said, oh, so, you and your wife, you're still together. He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? He's like, I just didn't love her anymore.
Yeah.
And she stuck with you through your addiction the whole 25 years? Yeah.
That goes back to what I told you about recovery being selfish. A lot of the times when we get sober, we realize that we are not the person we used to be. And that goes for relationships, that goes for work, that goes for families. When we get sober, we have the uncomfortableness of realizing we might have been stuck in a relationship we really didn't want for a long time. It comes with a lot of self-reflection and work where we have to sit there and be like, damn, I don't love this woman. What do I do? It's going to cause damage. But it's better to get the damage out the way and get everyone else to get, you know what I mean? It's better to tear the Band-Aid off than rip the Band-Aid off than slowly peel it off. It's sad, but that happens to a lot of people.
Because you think it's better to be truthful, like he said, or say just act like and be fake, and then like you said, carry on probably a bad relationship, right?
See, but here's the thing. As the addict, I get where they're coming from, right? Yeah. But let's just say as the person on the receiving end, can you imagine the time wasted?
No, I can totally. I can tell you, I've been in a situation like that. And the sad thing is, it's going to hurt someone, whether it's you or them. That's why I tell you, when we get sober, I have to do everything that's better for me. Unfortunately, not for you. I can make my amends and I can tell you where I was wrong and I'm sorry and what I won't do again. And I will be working on my behavior. But if it's between me or you and me without you staying sober, I'm going to stay sober. And that's a fact. And anybody who tells you that's not true, anybody who's going to sit here and tell you, well, I'm going to stay with my wife and kids, no matter that they're my biggest trigger, they're going to relapse and they're not going to stay sober. You have to put yourself first. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality.
Let's just say, though, that the partner themselves were not the problem. Let's just say that partner was everything that they were supposed to be. They were supportive and things like that. And you just one day wake up and you're like, I'm out. Like, well, I mean, that sounds like normal life to me because that happens in or out of recovery. One day, I know a gang of homies that have woken up one day with 3 kids, a house, construction job, a house payment, and they realize they don't love their wife and they want to go. Yeah,
that's pretty normal.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah, it's sad. It's even worse, I guess, when they're on drugs, though. But yeah.
So now that you have made the change in your life and you're basking in the success that you're basking in, is there anything that you want to do that you have not done?
I've been traveling. I would like to go to Europe, but I'm finding out that even though I'm sober and changed, a lot of these countries won't accept felons into the country. So I'm struggling to find out where I can and can't go. I can't go to Canada. I'm Scottish. I have a little bit of Scottish in me. I can't go to Scotland. I don't think I can go to Germany. I can't go to Taiwan. Wow. I think Japan just changed the rules. I can't go to I think half of the African continent I can't go to. I think anywhere in South or West I can. I can't go to Australia ever. It's pretty sad.
I thought that was only Canada, so that's like all around
Canada,
the world.
Canada's the worst one. There's a list on the internet of what countries you can and can't travel to with felonies, but Canada is the only one that says if you land in our country with anything over a DUI, they're going to put you in a tank for 3 days and then send your ass back.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Matt. Being that
Yeah.
you've been out, I know you know a lot of different programs, and I'm hearing that there's so many programs now. You know, I want to look into that. They say you could totally be expunged of all your records. Is that true, or how does that work? Dealing with
So
things.
in my research, what I've found, there's a lot of people that say you can expunge your record, and that works only if you want to go to Walmart and work, basically.
Oh, okay. I got
When
you.
Any
Serious
real
company
company
can
or
still
any real
dig.
company or government job or people
They
that
can
think
dig.
they're going to get a gun, you're not ever getting a gun. The government's going to find out your felonies. Any real job that has the money is going to check your background. I think that expunging thing is like a scam, in all honesty, because I've had a couple homies do it, and then the fucking city job turned them down. They still found it out. Now, mind you, I could be wrong, but in my discovery,
That's
I've
why-
even had one of my
that's-
lawyers tell me that too.
That's why I asked you, because I hear that a lot, but I you know, I'm torn between the two. I'm like, okay, I hear that a lot, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's that easy. You know what I mean?
It's not that easy. I'm pretty sure once you have a record, your record's there. It's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
I can't see them closing your record so you can get a job. It just doesn't make sense. The job has a right to find out, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn. The homie said go to Italy, they accept felons. What up, Steve?
I think he's right. I think Italy does. That's one of the places you can travel to.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that though, brother. I didn't know it was like worldwide like that. You know what I mean?
It's like country by country, but there's a list of them that they tell you don't land here. Like some of the Asian countries, fuck around and land in that Asian country and see what happens. You'll fuck around and find your house. Some of those countries will actually arrest you for trying to go there too.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not trying to find out after a 14-hour flight that I'm in some Asian jail. Imagine that.
That's
Fuck that.
crazy.
Yeah,
Has that always been that way, or these new laws that a lot of these countries
I
are
think
passing?
they've been that way.
Okay, wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, what do you recommend for someone who's having trouble with even though their record is expunged and they're trying to work due to this
Good question.
history? Like, what would you recommend for them, like, in order to?
Well, I mean, I know there's a list on the internet of jobs that hire felons. There's a lot of places that will hire us because they get tax cutoffs for that. I know that Walmart, I think Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that. But from what I've been seeing, right now is the perfect time to make your own hustle. There's about 1 million hustles out there. Make a t-shirt, make a hat, get you a podcast, get your hustle on. Right now is the best time to make your own money and not have no boss. And if you've been watching like I have, criminals are extremely popular on YouTube right now.
Yeah, that's a fact. But that has to be in you though, Matt. Like I see you're just a natural
You're right.
hustler.
You're very right.
You're a talker, you're all that. So that got to be in you too, though.
Because I was gonna say there's a lot of guys on there that want to talk a good one, but you find out they're full of shit.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
We really appreciate you telling your story. Like, when I had you on, I just thought it was gonna be okay. Let's talk about his career. Let's talk about the things that he's doing and things like that. But you've actually helped a lot of people tonight.
Well, I told you when you asked me, I'm gonna answer the question. That's how I got sober. I got to tell the truth, and I got to make sure that even if it's uncomfortable, it hits home because that's gonna help someone. The biggest thing I've gotten from talking like this, and man, it can make me cry right now. You'd be surprised how many moms or dads have reached out and said, "I listened to your show, and I can forgive my son. I always thought my son was a piece of shit, but hearing you talk and hearing you admit the things you've said, I can talk to my son again." That means the world to me that I helped some mom or some dad fucking be able to understand their kid. And that right there, that's exactly why I do it.
Yeah.
Facts.
And that's why I tell you, you got to share the uncomfortable shit.
That's what I get from, like I keep telling you throughout this whole conversation. What I respect about you the most is just you're honest, just how real you are, bro. Like all the other shit is good, you can learn, but as a man, I respect your your honesty, how real you are, bro. You know what I mean?
Thank you, bro.
I respect the most about you.
Thank you.
From the other side, like we don't know. Like I told you, me being a part of that on the other end, it's very confusing, especially if you don't dabble in it, you don't know anything about it. You're like, why is this motherfucker so selfish? Like, be serious. And you want at that moment that it's happening, you want to shake him and be like, wake your ass up, like, be serious. Like, this can't be real right now.
The sad thing is, in those moments, it's not really their fault because they don't know. It's not that you're not important. A lot of the times, the wife, the kids, they are important, but they're not mentally there at that moment under those drugs. So you almost got to, I hate to say this, but you got to give them a break for the moment until they can get sober.
But even then, you know what? Before you go, I want to talk about the long-term effects of it.
Man, I mean, I'm 6 years, and I swear to God, it took me a few years to finally get I was doing meth and heroin, and the meth that I was doing was turning me schizophrenic. So I had to take a couple years just to get my mental stability back. I had paranoid thoughts that I had to force myself not to act on. I was getting violently paranoid. It took me a while to come back down off that ladder to where now I'm stable and I can check myself. I can play the tape backwards and forwards, and every time a weird thought comes up, I can be like, "No, knock it off. That shit's bullshit." Like, it takes a while to come back down. Some people, the way the drugs are going today, I was sharing this the other day with another show. I'll be surprised if some people are even able to mentally make it back from where they're at with these drugs. Because it took me a couple years, about closing to the 3-year mark, I was able to find my sanity again.
If you don't mind me asking, how long were you addicted?
I started using drugs. I started out smoking crack. My first drug ever. I never did coke. I never did weed or cigarettes. I went straight to smoking crack back in the 90s. And I'm talking New Jack City crack. Like fucking, what's his name on Chris Rock on New Jack City. I was smoking crack for the first time when I was 21. And I went from there to meth and heroin.
It was all up from there.
I mean, it sounds like I want to say it was up. It got a little better. Crack was the most miserable thing I've ever done. There's no fun on that drug. At least with the meth, I had a little bit of fun for a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
But you were addicted for quite some time.
Well, yeah, since 21, and I'm 47 now. So what does that? Do the math. 26 years.
But when did you stop?
I stopped May 18th, 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So would you say, is there a possibility, even though, like, from what I hear, because I don't know, the OG drugs were cleaner, we'll say?
Wait, say that again?
That the original, like, the
Those were different.
I mean, we had our, like, bad batches of heroin or bad meth. But I mean, yeah, definitely the drugs. You were able to get high and enjoy yourself for a little bit back in the day. Today, you're going straight to death. It seems like.
Yeah.
Hey, my thing is this. I'm sorry, Deandra. Let me ask this briefly, since you're speaking about the drug. Like the fentanyl thing is my thing. Like I've never, like, you know what I mean. Like, how is it now that fentanyl has such a big impact and people know it's been proven how deadly it is, and people like really still want that? Like,
I gotta be honest with you. I have no fucking clue. It's weird that you have a 1 in 4 chance of dying, and you're still signing up to do it. I've never done it. I don't know what the high is like, so I can't speak on it.
Okay, that's one I just don't understand, bro. You know what I mean?
Me neither, bro. Trust me. When I ended, I was doing meth and heroin back and forth together. That was it. That was when I ended. So I honestly don't know what the draw to it is either.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, how important is therapy when it comes to recovery?
But I mean, therapy is important to me all around. I had to do like years of therapy to get out of my prison politics, all the gang stuff. I had to do a lot of therapy in regards to that and recovery. So it's really important. Having someone you could talk to, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a therapist. I got a sponsor. I talk my sponsor's ear off every day.
Hey, do you accept when you have a sponsor, like, and like even you, how strong you become and mentally, sane and more, independent? It's funny. It's not funny, but you still accept, like, does one sometimes try to get away from that, or I don't need a sponsor anymore? Like, you seem like you accept that and you keep that in your life. Like, some people get away from that.
I have to accept it to this day because I'm not always right. And I always there's a lot of times I got to check my own behavior too. I'm pretty good at giving advice, but I'm still not sometimes good at taking it myself. And I'm always talking to my sponsor. I wouldn't be sober if it wasn't for my sponsor. So I know I have to check in with him.
But do some people feel like they get too big for that or prideful, or like, oh no, I'm good now?
Yeah. You see that a lot, and then you also see them relapse.
How does one, for those who don't know that are running to start the recovery journey, how does one obtain a sponsor?
You have, well, first of all, you have to be humble enough to ask. Number two, I recommend you find somebody that's like you. Don't go find some pretty girl if you're a female that's got the Gucci bag. Don't go find some motherfucker that's got the Benz or the big truck. Find somebody that you hear has a similar story to you, because that's the person that's going to call you out on your own shit. My sponsor is just like me. White boy, been to prison, got involved in prison, has trouble with women on and off over the years. He's like guaranteed probably single forever. He's similar to my background, so he can see me trying to pull some bullshit before I can sometimes. It's like having a really good road dog or a best friend. He can see my bullshit, and I can see his bullshit.
And do you find these sponsors when you're in NA?
Yeah, when you go to the AA or the NA meetings, you'll be around a lot of people, and I recommend you just look for somebody that's got what you want, that's like you. Don't go for the flash and all the glitz. Don't go for the motherfucker that's got 6 girlfriends. That's not important. A lot of people get sucked up in the hype with, oh, he's got a Rolex and he's got a new truck. That's what I want. Okay, let me know how that works out for you.
So you also have sponsors that are like you said, I don't want to say not scant, but like aren't in it for the right reasons, like you said.
Oh yeah, that program has become a really dangerous place too. There's a lot of people that they go there for like a singles club. They go there to show off. You got to be very careful. You got to be very adamant. Like jail, it's just like jail or the streets. Pick your circle wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Pick your circle wisely. There's a lot of sharks out there, and they're in some of those places too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about that, where you'll have people go to NA.
Well, you got to remember, we were really bad people on drugs, and a lot of those people, they're still just really bad people now off of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
deep.
Yep.
Oh, Mohawk. That's
You are
deep.
truly amazing. Like, you don't know what you've done for this show tonight.
Thank you.
That's a fact.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much for being on here.
You're welcome.
Now, is there anything that I missed when it comes to your projects, or anything that you have coming up that you wanted to promote before you go?
No, I think you got it all. You let me talk about it. But anybody that wants to talk about recovery, hit me up on social media. Just don't send me no weird pictures. That happens to me a few times. And
Hey, hold up, Matt. Let me ask you this on a funny note, right?
Go for it.
Do you get people who get at you, who want to get, like you just said, get at you, that maybe want to help, and it may be a female, you know what I mean? That seems like they want to help, but low key, they're trying to low key hook up with you, or whatever the case. I'm sure you deal with that.
Bro, I wish it was a female. I've been having some bad luck where I get dudes like, you think I'm trying to help you. And let me tell you something about dudes, bro. You know, in the world we live in, I got to be very careful on how I respond. And you'll be surprised. Men have no problem when they're gay to send you some uncomfortable pictures.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, come on. I wish it was a woman to send me a titty now and then. Man.
Wow.
Man, bro. Please, don't send me none of that weird shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So where can we find you on social media?
My Instagram is Mohawk_Matt_SFV. I think my TikTok is the same, Mohawk_Matt_SFV. I'm not really good on TikTok, so don't bother me on there. My Facebook is my first name, Matt, my last name, Cammarano.
All right.
Well,
that part. Hey, man, I really appreciate you, brother. Before Deandra goes, I want to say I really appreciate you. This was a great, inspirational show. I learned a lot, and just glad I got to chop it up with you. Like I said, I respect the thing I learned the most in here tonight is that you're a real dude, homie. And you seem like someone, can talk to you and chop it up and get some honest opinions, feedback, and conversation. So I respect
you, bro.
Brother.
I appreciate it. It's been great chopping it up with you.
Respect.
Thank you again and again. If there's anybody that needs help with recovery, just hit up Mohawk Matt on social media.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for taking out your time, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime. Thank you, guys.
Respect. Mohawk and Matt, people. That was Mohawk Matt, and thank you again, Matt. Hey, that was incredible right there. Once again, Deandra, we outdid it. I don't know, every show, I don't want to say like how because they're all different, but it seems like they just better, and that's no disrespect to the previous guests, but every show just gets better, but on a deeper level. Like they're all different in their own right, respectfully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everyone said tonight was a great show. Thank you, everyone in the chat.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone in the chat that were transparent enough to tell like parts of their story where they were in recovery or they're a family member of someone in recovery. Like it takes a lot to be able to be as transparent and like on a public platform like this. So thank you guys for that. Truly.
Hey, and thank you for the super chat, Steve, Pearl, everyone, and everyone who commented. Like Deandra said, that's what we need, the feedback and interaction. And I'm glad Matt was able to speak to all of us tonight in one way or another. I'm sure everyone got something from this message and testimony. I just respect a real dude. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of them. I mean, so respect to him. Well, shout out to American Cholo too, who chatted. Much love, Gil. And again, everyone. And yeah, shout out to DD. She wasn't able to join us tonight, but shout out to you, DD. Yeah, but everyone, thank you so much, man. And I'm gonna let Deandra take us out.
So before we go, I kind of wanted. Well, I don't know if I should, but I will.
Go ahead. Speak on it.
The reason that I chose to have Matt on the show is because I, at one point, was dealing with someone who had an addiction. Do I know if he has an addiction now? I don't, because we don't speak. But he was a partner that I had that I saw myself marrying and having children with, and his addiction took over everything. I changed as a person. I wasn't the same person I was when I got with that person because I saw a lot of stuff that I didn't want to see. I dealt with stuff that I don't want to deal with, and I changed, like I said, myself as well. Like I was just more like mean and bitchy and like just always checking and Right. But I will say from the loved one's point of view, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. You will have times where, as an addict, and like I still have so much love for that person, and I understand that now. Talking to Matt, the triggers of it's your fault, it's you did this, it's because that it's due to the addiction itself.
Right. It makes you understand that more, like you said.
It makes you understand because at first I'm like, you're one of the most selfish motherfuckers, But at the end of the day, you put yourself in a position to try to help it, and you can help until they want to help themselves.
Facts.
So just do not blame yourself, and just wish them well, pray for them, and just hope and pray that they recover to the best of their abilities. But I hope this show was very helpful to a lot of people as well, because I saw, like I said in the chat, there's a lot of you that were very transparent with your stories, and it's appreciated. But on a lighter note, next week we will have Ricky did that. He is an actor. He was actually recently in a movie by the name of Sam's Cry, which is an amazing movie about mental health issues and how the government just kind of like it was the story of a young man who was in a mental facility because he went to jail for doing something accidental. And when he got out of prison, they sent him to a mental facility because he did something to one of his parents, or he attempted to do something to one of his parents. And he ended up dying because they forced medication into his system, and they smothered him and they basically killed him. So who End Up starred in that movie?
Who?
End Up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So
you gotta see that.
He was the young man who ended up dying in the movie.
You gotta see that.
Yeah, one of the co-hosts one of the co-stars that's in that movie, he'll be with us next week.
Dope. Yeah, that should be dope.
Yeah.
I want to see the movie too. Yeah,
it's gonna be a good one.
So everyone, stay tuned next week. We'll be back for another one. We don't slow down. It seems like we speed up with the dope stories and conversations that we have with these incredible guests. So thank you, Deandra Chanel, for making it happen again and bringing these great people on here and the people in the chats, interacting and joining us. Thank you. And we'll do it again next week, same time, same place. The G-Lew Show, changing the game. G-Lew, Deandra Chanel, the beautiful one. Follow her as well. She's a stylist, fashion. I I don't know the hats. What do you call like?
Mainly, I am a stylist, so I do work with artists, singers, actors, whatever it is for any occasion. But it's not just singers and actors. I work with everyone. So if you guys have a special event, like I don't know, a wedding, a birthday party, like I can definitely style you for that too.
There it is. Tell them where they can get at you, Deandra.
Deandra Chanel Designs on Instagram. If you guys are interested, or even if you guys want to pop in and say hi, I always answer my DMs.
That part right there. Thank you. And everyone, thank you again. Much love and respect. We're out of here. We'll see you next time. Peace and love, everyone. Thank you, Deandra. Good night. Peace, y'all. We out. We out of here. Peace, y'all.